There's nothing more frustrating than hitting a great couple of shots into a par 4 and then wasting it with a 3-putt because your speed control is off. And more often than not, that is because we haven't read the speed of the putt correctly. So what we're going to do today is help you with your green reading, specifically when it comes to distance control, and we're going to use a Stimpmeter to help us. I'm Glenn Haynes. What is a Stimpmeter? Well, this is a Stimpmeter. It's just a rod of steel, and it helps us to measure the speed of greens by just rolling some golf balls down the rod and seeing how far it rolls. And the Stimpmeter measurement is in feet. So we're going to talk about feet today, not meters, but just feet. And typically we do that on a flat area of green. If we do it on a slope, then we get a misreading and we don't get a true representation of what the speed of the green is. So I can tell you that we've measured these greens and they're running at around about 11 feet 6 inches. It varies a little bit, but that's generally what these greens are running at the moment. And that's pretty fast. Augusta's around about that. Maybe Augusta gets to 12. So there's a fast greens, but we don't have many flat spots on these greens out here. So it's actually a challenge to find some flat spots out on non-ashes greens so we can measure the speed of the greens correctly. Now I'm on the 7th green here, and this is not a flat green. There's no flat spot on it whatsoever. It runs from the front left corner of the green there towards me to the back right corner here. And what I want to show you is the difference that we get in speeds using the Stimpmeter. So I'm going to roll uphill first. We've got a little slot in the Stimpmeter here. We pop the ball in there, just resting, and then we just gently lift the Stimpmeter until it just starts to roll out of the groove. And then we can see that ball's not rolling very far at all. Do it once more. And we generally do it a few times, but if we measure that, I'm getting around 5.5 feet of roll uphill. Now, if it's flat, I expect this ball to roll around 11.5 feet. So we can see that pretty much you need twice the amount of power with your putting stroke to get the ball to roll the same distance uphill. Now, let's do it downhill and see what happens. Come back here. Going to go straight down the slope here. Pop the ball in the groove, gently up until it rolls out. Now look at the difference. It's the same patch of grass, same green, but we see a real difference in the speed. That didn't even go quite exactly downhill. So if we go that way, this should roll out a fraction further. And that's much different to rolling the ball uphill. So that's rolled 18 feet down the hill, same patch of turf as rolling 5.5 feet up the hill. Now I want you to think about that for the moment. So that means that if I've got a putt on this green of 5.5 feet up the hill, then I need the same amount of power as a putt from 18 feet above the hole. The same stroke. Now hopefully you start to realize that this is why you leave a lot of uphill putts short and you go past the hole with a lot of downhill putts. We really need to be aware of how much difference there is in the amount of power required in order to roll the ball uphill or downhill. Now, hopefully you can get pretty good speed from this close distance, but you can see here that I won't need too much of a swing. And that's a good speed. Good holding speed, a short back and through. Bad stroke, that one. So that's good speed. 5.5 feet up the hill. Now if we go 18 feet, which is just here, now the majority of golfers are going to swing further because it's a longer putt. But actually, now I need exactly the same amount of power that I just hit with that last one, which is a very short back and through stroke. Just what I did with the 5.5 feet putt. And you can see here, that's quite easy for me to get good speed. A little bit off to the right, so let's aim a little further left. So that's exactly the same stroke that I just used for the 5.5 feet putt. Oh, nearly. but a completely different length of roll. But because I'm aware of how fast this green is and how much tilt there is, then I'm going on to putting onto this green with much more information, much more powerful position to be able to get the right speed. Let's now double it. So now we have an 11-foot uphill putt, and obviously I need twice the amount of power. So what a lot of golfers then do is that they have the same length backswing and they try to force it. They try to accelerate, especially on those long uphill ones, the 40, 50, 60 footers. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to have the swing a little bit longer, the backswing and the follow through, double the amount of power. Poor line today, I have to concentrate on this, but a little bit too fast, so a little bit shorter swing. That's a better putt. All right, so there's double the amount of power for an 11-foot uphill. Now we want to go for a 36-foot putt down the hill, which is, do my maths, 12 paces. And a lot of golfers are going to whop this way past because it's a 36-foot putt and they think, oh, well, I need to hit it harder. Well, we just need the same stroke that I used for that 11-foot putt. Haven't really read this, but I think it's going to just go to the left a little bit. Okay, so off to the right-hand side, same length stroke. Let's see how I did from 36 feet. It's quick, isn't it? Well, go on, do it, do it, do it. There we go. So same length stroke as I had for the 11-foot putt, but a completely different amount of roll because of the speed of the green, because of the tilt of the green. And you need to be aware of this type of difference between putting an uphill and downhill, whether you're on fast greens or slow greens. Imagine the amount of swing you need for a slow uphill 30-footer. But then going down 30 feet, it's going to be a lot shorter swing. And that's the mistake that I'll see a lot of club golfers make, is they don't understand the difference that we see between an uphill and downhill putt. So clearly, a lot of club golfers leave uphill putts short and they go past the hole with downhill putts. Now you can change this pattern. You need to change this pattern. If you want to improve your putting and reduce the number of 3 putts, then you've really got to improve your distance control, and that comes from reading greens, reading the speed of the greens. Now, if you want to get an idea of that tilt, then you've got to have a look from the side. It's really important to get to the low half and have a look to see where that gradient is, see how much it is. You've got to have a look from the side of the putt rather than just behind the ball, and that's going to give you a real good 3D sense of the putt. You've got to work out how much uphill or downhill it is, and it gives you a good image of how long the putt is as well. So having a quick look, just a quick look, not studying, just a quick look from the side of the putt is going to go a long way towards helping you to read the speed of the greens and help you with your distance control. Now we have a more comprehensive video on green reading over here, so pop up to there and you really get a sense of how to go about reading greens, and add that to the information that you've learned today about using a Stimpmeter and getting an idea of the speed uphill and downhill. So you might not have a Stimpmeter at hand. Obviously, it's pretty much only some clubs have them. Just roll some golf balls around just by hand, and you will get a sense of how much faster greens are downhill than uphill. I know that sounds simple, but the fact is that it's often underestimated. If you like this video, then please smash that like button. We'll be back next week. Are you the best golfer you can be?